Okay. Do you have any question for this class? Let me know. Any question?
I have some about final project.
Okay, we can do it later. Okay. Now we go on with working with the file and the file processing. So far we have something about the first application when we work with the file. The first application with the file is that you want to change some information in the file. Right? So think about you have the record of all employee, right, with the name, with address and the pay rate, and you want to update. You want to update it that for every employee they have the pay rate increased by 2, right? So the process that you read the old file and you write into the new file, right? Read it the old file and write in the old file. And you see the process it always do the same. You read every record line by line, right? And for each record you increase the pay rate by 2 and you write into the new file. That is the first application. The second application is that when you work with the break logic here, right? With the break logic, that means you want to make a count, right? So see how many employee in Alabama, how many employees in Alaska, and how many employees in Arizona. Right? So this is the process is that when you look on this one again, you have to maintain a count, right? And you have to assign the old state to the state. That means it's starting from Alabama. So for each time you read it, if the state is the same, you just increase the count by 1, right? And until the state is not the same, you print down how many of them. And again, when you print it out how many of them, if you want to move to the new state, you have to reset the counter by 0. You reset it again. So that's the process of the control break logic here. Now the third one is merging them together. Merging them together. Remember that if you want to merging them together, they must be on the same outline, right? The same record outline, and they must be sorted in the same order based on the same field, right? Think about this one. You have the 2 files here. The first one is called to store employee in the east and the west. File to store all of the employee in the west, and already see they already sorted in the alphabet by the name, right? So now if you want to merge them together, you need to accept in the 2 files, and you want to write into the new file here, right? So for each process here, you just keep doing it until the process only terminates when both of the files you read it at the end of both of the file. Right? So see, for that one you won't have to get ready. Get ready that means you read the first line of the east, you read the first line of the west, and for every time you read east and read west, you have to check if both of them at the end of the file. If both of them at the end of the file, you exit the loop, right? Otherwise, you keep doing it here. Keep doing it. So see, for every time you go, for every time here, you see for this one here, every time you got it from the one record from the east and one record from the west, you have to compare them together. Right? And of course, if the east less than the west, you write the east. Right? You write the east into the merge file here. Now, when you write first record of the east, you have to move to the next record in the east. In the east, that's why you see if the east less than the west here, you can see here. Because where am I? You can see here the comparison here. If it's less than the west here, right? See, you write the it into the file, and you have to read the next record from the east. That's the process, right? That's the process. And of course, if the west is greater than, you write the west into the list and you read the next record from the west. That's all. And again, every time you write, you have to check if both of the file you already go to the end of the both of the file or not. If not, keep doing it. That's all. The process is there. So here again, I expect you guys that whenever you work with the pseudocode, the first step you have to identify what is the problem. You want to merge them together. You want to do the control break or whatever, right? That's the first step. And the second step here, if you know that you want to merging, you have to look it up in the pseudocode here. You have to understand what is the logic of that in order to work with the debugging exercise. Now, the third application is that you work with the master and transaction file processing. And some related file have the master transaction relationship. The master file, it holds the complete and relatively permanent data. You have to hold complete and permanent data. Transaction files contain temporary data only. Temporary data to be used to update the master file. Right? And so when you have the master file and have the transaction file, now you want to update it. You are going to update it into the master file. Right? So we have the some of the example here. A library maintain the master file of all the patron and a transaction file with information about each book or other item. Check it out. Right? So think about you have the master file here. You have the master file for customer A, right? For customer A. Now he borrowed 10 books, that and you store it in the master file, right? And now what happened here? If today customer A he borrowed one more book, right? One more book, you store it in the transaction file. Right? So at the end of the day, you have to update it. You have to update it that now at the end of the day, customer A he borrowed 11 books here. Right? Makes sense. Okay, that's the permanent file here. Store it, right? And this one is the transaction, and you have to update it here. Okay, so now think about this one here. How you update it? Updating approaches the change information in the master file, right? And you copy master file and change the new version, right? And you begin with both files sorted on the same order and the same field, the same, right? If you want to merge, actually this one also the process of the kind of the same with the merging file, right? They must be on the same order. They must be on the same layout, right? Has the same layout and the same order. So now think about this one here. I think about I have the master file here. I have the master file, right? In that I have the master customer number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, right? And I have the master name here, A, B, C, D, and so on here. And I have the master total here, all of them 1,000 here, right? So now that is a master file. That is a master file here, right? That's the master file. So now for today, right? For today, I have the 3 customers. I have the 3 customers here. Customer number 2, sorry, 4 customer. Customer number 3, customer number 6, and customer number 8. They make the 200 transactions. This one is 150, 100, and 200 here. So at the end of the day, I have to update it into the master file. I have to change it here. This guy here, number 2 here. This guy here, number 2, you have 1,000. And today he makes another transaction 200. So I have to update it to 200 here. And so on, right? I read it here. Now this guy number 3 here. This guy number 3 here, make it 150. So I change it to 1. Sorry, I have to change it to 150 here, and so on. Makes sense. Okay. So now, if you look on the 2 file here, they sort it in the order already, right? They sort it in the order of the customer number. They have the customer number here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this one here 2, 3, 6, and 8. They always have the same layout, and they always have to sort it on the same order. And see, for the transaction number file here, I have the transaction number also. Transaction number 196, and so on. It doesn't matter. Right? So now what happened here? For this one here, right? For this one again, you know that you have to access it into, sorry. For this one again, you know that you have to access it into the master file. And you have to access it into the transaction file. And you do the process is right in the new file here, right? That's why you have to update the file here. Right? So remember that you have the 2 input here, and you have the 1 output here. And of course, you see, for this one, housekeeping, where's the housekeeping? I can go with later here. So, how process it work here? Now, for this one, right? So for this one, how it work here? the first step, right? The first step in housekeeping here, you have to open, right? Master file. You have to open the transaction file and also have to open the updated file here. And you assign the customer.sh link it to the object here. This one link it to the object sans file, and this one link the object here. Read master. What is the read master? If you look on the read master here, you see, right? If you look on the read master here, what is it? The read master that means you have to input the master customer, right? You have to input the master name, and you have to input the master total from the master file. That means you read the first record. Read master, that means you read the record from the transaction, from the master file here. And you see, every time you read record from the file, you have to check if already ended the file or not. If already ended the file or not, you see, if you check here, ended the file or not yet, you send it, you raise the flag here and num, right? Again, well, the same for the read transaction as well. You read the record from the transaction file and you check if it's the end of the file or not, right? And you see, in the main loop here, you only end, right? Only end when both of the file is at the end of the file, right? When the process here end of the both of the file. Make sense? It's the same with the when you merge file here. It's the same. You have to check, right? Every time you read the record, you have to check if already ended the file or not. And the process only terminates when both of the file is come to the end here, right? So what happened here? What happened here? We see what happened with this one here. Now you can think about this one. I have the two file here. I have two file here, right? So see, when I move to the read master and read transaction here, actually I just the first step I just read it. I take it out the first record and to take it out the first record from the master file and the transaction file. Right? Read here. You can see. You can see for this one here. Here, you can see read master. Take it out the first record from master file. Right? Read transaction. Take it out the first record from the transaction file. Right? Okay. Now what happened here? When you have the one record from the master file and you have one record from the transaction file, what do you think? What you have to do here? What I have to do here? What I have to do here? You see, the customer number one here, but this one customer number two. So what does it mean? That means that customer number one, he had no transaction. And they are not the same, right? They are not the same. That means he have no transaction. So if he have no transaction, what do you think? What do you have to do? No, if he have no transaction, you just copy it and write exactly the same, right? And you store it in the new file here. Number one, customer A, and 1000 here, right? And of course you write. So when you have no transaction, of course you have to move it to the next, right? You have to move it because you see when you compare them together here, number one less than number two here. This one less than number two, and of course this one you have to move to the next customer here. Okay, that's the process here. So remember that for every time you read it, you have to compare them together, right? You have to compare them together. If the number customer in the master file here, see, if this one here less than, you have to write exactly the same into the file, and you move to the next customer. You move to the next customer here. So that is the process, and you can see it in slide number 3 here. In the slide number 3 here. Now you see that's the process here. So see, every time, right? You see here, every time you got it. Every time you got the one record from the master, and every time you got one record from the transaction, you have to compare them together, right? Every time you have to compare them together. If they are the same, you know for sure he did some transaction here, right? And if he did some transaction, you just add it master total equal to total plus the transaction amount. I think about this one here. Think about then the customer number 2 here, right? He knows that he at the beginning have 1,000. Now he make the transaction 200 and you add it 200 here. That's why he make it 1,200 here. Make sense? Okay. Now what happened here? If they are the same, you just add it and write it into the new file, right? Write it into new file here. And of course, when you write into the new file, you have to move to the next record of both master and the both transaction here. Huh? And in the case they are not the same. In the case it's not the same. You have the two. You have two scenarios here, right? The first thing is that if the transaction here greater than master, right? If the transaction greater than master here, that means you have no master record for that transaction. Right? Something wrong with this one. Right? And if not here, if not, you just see, if not, you just print it out, master customer, master name, and master total. That means you keep the same. You keep the same and write in the new file. And of course, when you do it, you have to move to the next customer. Right? And of course, for this one here, you move to the next transaction here. Now see, you can change now how process it work here. How process work here, right? So the first step, I read it out. The first record from the master, that is master here. Right? I read it out the first record from transaction here. Right? So I do the comparison. What happened here? Sorry. Now, what happened here? They are not the same, right? Because you see, customer number for this one is number 1, and this one customer number 2. They are not the same, right? So see, they are not the same. I check for this one here. Now, transaction customer number for this one, transaction customer number 2 here, right? And master customer number 1 here. 2 greater than 1. Yes. What happened? I keep the same, right? I write the same 1A and 100 because this one he did not do anything with the transaction here, right? That's why you see what happened here. I write into the file 1A 1,000. Right? And what happened here? When you're done with the writing the file, I read the master. I read master. That means I move it to the next record of the master file here. Right? So see, now what happened next year? See, I read the next record. Right? So now customer number 2, master name B, and the master total. Now we see. Now the customer number here, right? So now for this one here, the customer number here, number 2. This one, customer here, number 2. They are the same. Right? What happened here? They are the same. You have to make the master total equal to master total plus the transaction amount. That means you have to add them together. Right? You have to add them together. Right? And you write into the file. That's why you have customer number 2, master name A, transaction now 1,200. Right? And now what happened here? When you're done with this one here, what happened? When they are both the same, you have to read the record of both files. So see, when you're done, I'm done with this guy. See, I've done with this guy already. I'm done with this guy. Now, if I want to do next, I have to move to the next record from the transaction file, from master file, and also I have to do with the next record from the transaction file. And again, process compare together again and again. Make sense? Okay. Now, again, you have to look in the pseudocode here. You have to understand the logic in order to work in the debugging exercise. I see, but this one here, compare it here, the same, right? Compare it here, right? It's the same. Change the master, right? Now write into the file. Now read the next record from the master. Read the next record from the transaction. Right? If not here, you see, if not here, you have the 2 possibilities. Right? If your transaction customer greater than, you have the user have the output customer name, master total to the update file, and again you read master here. Read the master. If not, right, it's something wrong with the transaction here. Right? Okay, that's the process here. Any question? Any question? Clear or not? Yeah, you can change that here. It's very clear here. So see, when we're done with the process at the beginning, again, you see, when you read it here, number 3 and number 3, again, there's the same, right? You just update it here. And okay, of course, when you've done it, you have to close the master file, you have to close the transaction file, and you have to close the update file here. Okay, now you have the random access file, right? So basically, so far you do it by sequential order, right? You read it one line by line here, but sometimes you want to do the random access file here also. Okay, now that it I think it's done everything with the textbook, but I have some other information. I want to instruct you how to work with the file interrupter and how to work with the file in the Python. Right? So when you work with the file interrupter, you can use a procedure. It's a redirect output here. Redirect output is that you have the redirect output and you specify the name. Or now think about this one here. When you have the redirect output and you put the name of the file, this one is generate the file. You automatically generate the file with the name the sample.txt here, and it is stored on the same directory of your Raptor file. It's stored in the same directory of the Raptor program. And if you want to specify the directory, you have to put the specific path here. Right? Okay. Now, so think about this one here. If you want to specify it and you want to put it, store the file into my document and John and the sample here, you have to specify it. Otherwise, if you only use the file name, it will be stored on the same directory of the Raptor program. Right? Okay, now. So when you've done everything processing with the program, you have to use the redirect output call here or no. That means you close the file. Right? So the first process here, if you want to read it, accept it, you redirect yes. But when you're done with it, you have to put the redirect output no here. Now see how it works with the file here. Okay, that's the program. You work with the Raptor here. In this program requires user to input name and salary of employee, and the store into the text file name is sample.txt, and the user will enter multiple name and salary. Exit program when enter the name with the star here. That is sentinel control, right? Keep enter the name, keep doing it until he enters the star here. Right? So see the program here. The first process here. You have the redirect output and it specifies the name, right? And it generates the file name. Right? So now that is loop there, right? That is the control here. That's the control variable here. Enter the name and check if name equals star or not. If yes, exit the file. Right? Exit process and close the file here. If not, right? If not here, put name. But put name here is not give you the output in the screen. Actually, it write in the file. Write in the file, right? Again, you get the salary and to put salary, it write it into the file. Not sample txt here. Huh? And again, do it again and again until he enters the start here. Right? And you can run it the program here. You can see how program run here. Okay, let me save it. Save it to somewhere. Let's stop here. Let me save it in the new folder here, right? So see when it's right. Okay, and the new folder. So many things. Better I change. Okay, save it again. in bracket. Okay, so see in the Raptor here, I only have one file, right? This is the Raptor file here. So now what happened here? When I run this program, it redirect output in generates the file with the name sample.txt and stored on the same directory. Now I run it here. I have 1000, have B, have 2000, and have C, I have 3000. Right? Now, if I want to exit it, terminate it, I put a star here. Right? So now, what happened here? You see, I do not have anything in the output here, even that I put the output here. Right? Because it will write into the file, not in the screen here, right? On the screen here. And I can go back to my directory. See, that's the file automatically generated and store information. Right? I have A 1000, yeah, B 2000, and C 3000. Right? Make sense? It's very straightforward here, right? Okay, that is the case you want to get input from user and you store it into the file. So what happened here? If you want to access into the file, take it out the data. If you want to access into the file and take it out the data, the process is the reverse process here. So in that case, you have redirect input. That means you want to take it out, to access it and take it out here. And you see, you have specify the name here, and you have the function. It's a build function here, and the input. That means you see for the file here, you read every single line. Says angle line with the loop and until and the input. That means and the file here. You see for this one here. See the first step, redirect input. I specify the name. That's the file name I just created before, right? I set here. Now I do the loop. Now end of the input. That means tell me that the process here keep doing it line by line until the end of the file. So for each of them, you see, I get the name, I get the salary, I print it out here. That's all. So see, if you remember about my file here. If you remember about my file, I have the two records here. I have 1000 here, right? I have B, I have 2000, I have C, I have 3000 here. So see, for the first iteration, right? The first iteration, get name, takes it out. Get salary, take it out 1000, and print it out. 1000, right? And okay, go back to the loop. And the input or not? No. Right? So the second one, you have B and 2000 and C and 3000. That you exit the program. Okay. Now let's verify it here. Let's verify how the program works. So again, I have to save it on the same directory. Right? So now I run it here. See, run it here. Take it out, right? I has area 1000, B is 2000, and C is 3000. Okay, makes sense. Very straightforward with this one. Right? Okay, so that is everything about the Raptor. Right? Now, if you want to work with the file in the Python here, now the first thing is that you have to remember about the. If you want to using the text file in the Python, right, you can use the text editor, such that Notepad or text edit, or you can create or view or save data in the text file here. But remember one thing here: all data output to or input from the text file must be string. Right? So think about here. Think about this thing. You think about if you want to store about the program here. If you come back to the program, right? If you want to store about the employee name A and salary of 1000 here, it is string. It's okay, right? You can store it in the file. But 1000 here, it is in the number format, right? So remember that if you want to write into the file, you have to convert it into the string before you write in the file. So you know that you have the two functions, right? You have two built-in functions to convert from the number to string. Sorry, you have one function to convert from number to string. You have to use a string function here in the Python. So when you put a string and the 1000 here, it will convert the number 1000 into the format string here. And after that, you can write it in the file. So remember, when you work the Python, you have to convert string before you write in the file. And again, the whole process we work in the file in the Python here is our scope for this class. You do not have to do with your homework or assignment. But if you work, so you think about in the final project and the final exam, I give you an option to work with the Python. I know some of you already know about Python. That's why I give you the option to work with the Python. And if you think that you are able to work with the Python, feel free to do it. Otherwise, just work with the Flutter is okay. Okay. Now, how to write the file here, right? To think about here. The data can be output the file using the file object. I think about the syntax here, right? When you work with the Python here, you have app here is the name of object, and you reference it into the file. It reference it to the file, and use the syntax open and the W here. That means write. You know that you want to do with the writing process here, and so if not the file not exit, it will automatically read it. If already exit, it will override. Just remember that already exit, you will override it here. So in the case you do not want to override, you have to use A here. That means append it to the end of the file. Right? Okay, the write method expect a single string argument. That means you already think about this one here. Whenever you write in the file, it will write in the single line. And if you want to separate it into the separate line, you have to use the next line here. That is next line character. I tell you how we write the file. Think about this one here. You go back the program. Okay, so let me save it on the same directory here. Desktop, Raptor. So see for this one here, the process is very simple, right? The process is very simple here. I create the object. App here is a name of variable. You can think about that. That is an object variable, but you can put whatever name it is. Right? It doesn't matter. App or D or C or whatever it is. Now this here, this app here, link it to the file name test.txt, and I use the W. That means the process of the writing here. Process writing, and you create the file. It's not existed yet. That will create the file. So I use a built-in function here, a method here. I have function here, right? Sorry. Okay, I use here. I use right, and that's the string. That's right, and that's stuck here. And remember, by the default, it will write everything on the same line. Right? So we see for this one here. When I run it, let me zoom it in here so we can see more clear. Okay, so now when I run it here. Now, see, when I run it here, right? Now it will create the file, right? It will create the file, and you see what I have in the file here. What I have in the file here. After, see, I have S line. Okay, see, it will write in the file. It has the first line and the second line. But you see, by the default, it always writes on the same line. And if you want to separate it, you have to use the next line character and here. Next line character, right? So I can modify it here. If I want to do it, I can modify the program. I can modify my program. And for this one, you can have that's move to the next line here. I can run it again, run it again, and I can open the file again. Okay, so now it separates the line here. Make sense? So if you want to separate it, you have to use the next line character for each of the line. Okay, you see, you have to separate it in next line or escape right there. Okay, so here's the process. You see, if you want to write into the same line, you have the first line and second line, and if you want to separate it, you have the new line here, character here, and this one here. If you want to print it to the first line, and second line, and the third line, you can do the loop, and you see the process here. You can see the process here. See the process here. See, for this one here, right? I want to write the number 1 line, the number 2. Number 1 here, by the default, is the number format. It's a number format. And remember that if you want to write into file, you have to convert it into string format. And that's why here, I have to use the string method here. That is the built-in method in the Python in order to convert it, right? So see, the range function, right? The range function here always starting from 0 and come all over to 9, not include the 10. That's the range function, right? And if I want to starting from 1, I have to add it to number 1 here. Right? Makes sense. So see, I print it out the first line, the second line, and the third line, and so on. Okay, so we can come back. You see, print out the first line, second line. Okay, that is when you work with you want to write the text to the file, right? And now how we want to write the number in the file. Okay, that's very simple here, right? Okay, the process is the same. The process is the same, but remember that the only thing that you have to remember that if you want to write the number into the file, you have to convert into the string format, and you have to use the string method here to convert it. To convert it here. So for this one here, I just have the create the new file, the integer.txt. I have the loop, run everything from the 1 to 10. It's a range here. Starting from 1 and come all over to 11, but not include 11. Right? That's why everything from 1 to 10. And I just write it for each iteration. I convert it into the string format, and I want to separate the line here. That's why I put the new line here, character here. Right? So at the end of the process, I will write every number from 1 to 10 into the format. Any questions so far, guys? Hello? Any question? Okay, so see for this one, when you run it here. Run it. And I have the integer.txt, right? I can go back and I have the integer.txt here. Right? Then store everything in the number 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And see what happened here if I do not convert it. If I do not convert it here, we see what happened. Yeah, you have the exception error here because here it's not support of the integer and the string together here. right? That's why you have to do it. You have to convert it into string format. Okay, that is the case of the writing number into the file. And what happened here? What if you want to? What happened if you want to so far, right? You do everything writing to protect to the file and writing the number to the file. And now what happened here? If I want to access into the file and I want to take it out, right? I want to take it out here. So if you want to read the text from the file, again, you use a process here, open name, but this one here, instead of using the W for writing, you use the R here for reading. This process is the same. So see, I will have the name, the file name, the test.txt, right? And I want to open it and I use R here. Right? So now I just print it out here. Right? What is the text? And I use a read method here. With the read method here, it reads everything in the file at one time. Every content of the file. So the whole content of the file at one time. Right? So think about this one. And then this program again. Oh, I do not have the file. Or I can do it. What's the name? Test.txt, guys. So save. Okay, so see, I have the test.txt, 1, 2, 1 line, right? Already here, right? 1 line, 2 line, on here. So now I run this program. Oh, sorry. Let's see. You have the read. What happened here? We have the test.txt. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I have to assign or text. Text. Okay, so we see it accept it to the file and read the whole file at one time. That is you read the whole file at one time, right? So in some case also we want to read it one line at a time here, right? So if you want to read it one line at a time, you can use the process of you can use the loop here. 4 lines in the app, you just print the line here, right? One at a time. One at a time, you see. You can read it one at a time. See the line one by one. Or can use a while loop here. You can read it one line, one by one here. Now, how can you read the number from the file? Remember that if you want to write the number in the file, you have to convert it into string, right? In the string. So basically here, if you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here is stored in the file, but actually it is in string format. Right? So if you want to read out the number and you want to do processing with adding and subtracting, you have to convert it back to the number format. Right? So this one here, you have to convert it to the number format. Again, in order to do that, you can use the strip method. Strip method is that means it removes the next line character. I remember that last time whenever we want to write the number here, you see, the last time whenever we want to write the number, for each of the line, you have to add the next line character here, right? The next line character here. So basically, you can see for this one here. For this one, when you write it in the file, actually, when you write the file, you have this one, right? Actually, in the file tag here, That's the format of the file text, right? Now see, if you want to take it out the number and you want to use the number only, the first step you have to remove by strip method here. You have to remove the next line here, right? So when you remove the next line, you have the string of 1 here. Now you can use it, you can convert it into the number format by using int function here. Convert it back into the integer format, and now you have the number 1, and you can do processing with this one. See, that is the case here, right? Let me clear it here. Okay, that's the process here. See, for the line in F here, the first step here for each of the line, I have to remove the next line character. As the first step, I have to remove it here. And the second one, I have to convert it into the integer format. Okay, and after that, I can use a number, and of course, I can use multiplication and addition, whatever. Right? Okay, and with the file here, you have some of the method here. You have to open the file name and mode. Mode you can be the read, write, or the append here. Right? And when you're done with the processing the file, you can close the file. And if you want to write it here. You want to read it here. Read the whole content of the file, or you can read line by line. Okay, so basically that's all about everything processing the file. And I go beyond the content of the class to explain how to work with the file in the interpreter and how to work with the file in the Python. You are not required to do anything with the file in your program. But anyway, I want to explain it to you so it makes more sense for you to understand how it works. So now I come back to the homework. You have the debugging exercise. Right? So this one you only have the debugging exercise and skill. Final process. So again, that's everything done with the lecture, right? So we done everything with the lecture. No more lecture. So on next Tuesday, I will be on the class to help you if you need any help with the final exam or anything. Right? And on Thursday, no more lecture. Thursday. It's the time for you to do with the final exam and skill exam, and you have 2 final exams. Right? So that's the time you reserve to do with the final exam. So basically, if you are on the traditional class, you have to be here to do with the final exam. But that's a learn anywhere. So you have more time to work with that one. Okay, so now let's see. For this one, you have the debugging exercise here, right? Now, let me do the debugging exercise. The first step also, you know that I always comment that the first step when you work with the debugging exercise, you have to understand what the requirement is. The first step here, for each time the salesperson sell a car, the new and used here, the record is containing the salesperson name and the amount of the sale of new and used car kept in the separate file, sorted by salesperson ID number. Management had requested to merge file. Okay, what is it? Now, so far, now let me list down all of the activity you work with the file. Right? The first one, you do processing and change content of the file. Right? Think about you increase the pay rate for each employee by 2. Right? That's the process you do every record single by one, right? And increase by 2, and you write into the new file. Right? The second one, you merge file. A second one is a break control, right? Break control, that means you keep counting if they are on the same field. Keep counting it, right? And if not the same, you print it out how many count we do, and reset the count to 0, right? And the third one is the merge file here. This one is the merge file. So merge file, that means you have 2 files and you merge it into the one. And remember that whenever you want to do the merging the file, they must be on the same layout, and they must be on the same order sorting here. It can be the ascending or descending here. It doesn't matter. But this one you see, it only sorted by the salesperson ID number. That means sorted in the ascending order of the salesperson ID here. Right? So now see for this one, the first step you have to understand this one work with the merging file. Right? Merging file. So I strongly recommend that you go back to the slide here. You go back to the slide, you see how can you merge the file. Right? Now how can you merge the file here? Right? So see, if you look on the file, how can you merge the file? You see, you look in the pseudocode here. On the left here, you see what is the pseudocode here, right? See, for this one here, you merging two files together, right? You have two files here. You have to access it to file. You see, for this one. For this one, you have to access it into file. Access it into file. And merge them together and write into the new file here. That's the process. And of course, you see, the process only ends when both of the files come to end. So that's why you have a flag here. You have flag here. And name ZZZZ here. And both of ends here. Both of end here. Right? So see, if you read one file at the end, you set the flag is ZZZZ. Yeah. And when both of them ZZZZ, you have the R both of end here. And you come to the yes. That's the process here. So again, for this one, I expect that you have to read about the slide in the merging the sequential file here. You read, you understand about the logic of the pseudocode here. You understand about the logic of the pseudocode here. And when you understand the logic of pseudocode, it works exactly the same with the debugging exercise. Okay. Now that's the first one. The second one, what's the second one here? The two senior class at home room fundraising drive for the prom each time students with a contribution allocated with the student name and value. 2 file create for the home room A and home room B. Each file sorted in the contribution value order from the highest to the lowest. Okay, this one also merging the file here. Right? This one also merging the file here. Yeah. Cooper College maintain okay, this one is working with the master file and transaction file. Again, when you work with the master file and transaction file, you have to look into the slide of the how we work with the master file transaction file here. You have to understand the process of the pseudocode here. Same. I explained it very clearly. You read it, every single one, compare and move on here. Okay, so see, you have to look into the pseudocode here. You have to understand how we work with the pseudocode for this one. Now, what is the fourth one? Okay, this one. The program should create a report that lists count the number of customers in each zip code. That is what is it? What do you think? That is what application it is? Break control, right? Break control. It lists it down based on the zip code here. Right? Lists it down on the zip code. So if they have to count how many employees on the same zip code, and it sort it in the zip code order. So again, for this one, you have to open and look it up how to work with the control break, how to work with control break here. How to work with control break here, understanding the control break. Now, you see for this one, exactly the same. Keep counting how many employees live in the Alabama, how many of them live in Alaska, and so on. I said, see, that is some special thing you have to remember for each of them, right? You have to assign the our state equal to state here, and keep checking if they are the same. They are same. Increasing the count by one. If they are not the same, print down what the count is. And you have to reset the count to 0 to move on to count for the next one. Make sense? Okay, so the process is here. The same. Okay, so I think that's all for the lecture. And do we have any questions? Let me know. Now, come with the the final project and final exam here. You have to check it. You have to check what is the process when you work with the merging file. Alright, you have to check when you work with the merging file. Now, see when you look on this one here, you follow exactly the same when you work with the merging file. At the end, you have no yet. You have both at end. No, at the end, right? Sorry, at the beginning. No. Keep doing it until both of the end. Yes, here. You have to set it no because you have the condition here to check. You see, you have the condition here to check it. You have the condition here to check. Do you have any other question? Now, for the final product. Again, I have explained it clearly here. I just changed the price for one of them is from the 1 to the 0.99 to make it more sense. So when you have to multiply with the price instead of keep the same. So that's the first thing you have to change in the program you already submitted. The second thing is that you can either do with the Raptor or the Python. It's up to you. I know some of you very good at the Python. It's okay. You can do it here, right? But remember that even that you work with the Raptor or the Python, you have to submit the Python file and the Raptor file. I see that some of you already submit, but you submit with the third file. It's not acceptable, right? Remember that you have to submit it in the either the Raptor file or the Python file, and make sure that you have to submit the screenshot to show that you run the file and you run it at least 3 times to show it that it works perfectly with the program. Right? So pay attention to it. You have to submit the source code either in the Raptor file or the Python file. And the second one here, you have to submit the screenshot here to show that the program works correctly at least 3 times. Okay, make sense? Any question with this one? Okay, now that's the first thing. The second thing that I changed the price from the 1 to the 99 here, cent. And now see what I explained here. You see, you have to add the input with the sentinel value. The sentinel value, how it works here. The thing about you have to look, right? You keep asking people, you keep asking user, enter your name, right? And how many apple you buy, right? And keep doing it, and you have the sentinel control value. So you think about, you tell the user that keep enter the name, right? And enter star or enter whatever to exit program. That's the sentinel control, right? That's sentinel control here. You have to understand how to use the sentinel control value here. Right? Some of you already do the list for the only 10. It's not acceptable. It's not really correct. The 10 here. That means for this one, you have to keep doing it until the user is the one who control how to exit the loop. Not fixed at the 10 or 20 or 30 customer here. Okay. And the second one here, you have to apply the defensive technique to verify and input the quantity. They are the positive integer number. Right? So make sure that you have to use the defensive technique to verify it is in the number format. It's greater than 0 and it is integer format here. I did it already in the Raptor. I showed it a couple of times already, right? And in the Python, you can see if you work with the Python, you can search it up in internet, or if you do not know, search like that. Make sure that you have to verify here. What happened if the user enter -4? It not accept, right? What happened if the user enters a 5.7? It's not accept. And what happened if the user instead enter the number format, he enter number 4 here? It's not accept. So we have to verify all of the scenario here to make sure he only able to enter the positive integer number. He cannot enter the negative. He cannot enter the floating point. And he can not enter the string format here. Okay. And if I'm not sure, just let me know. I explained it to you on the class already more than one time, right? And I did it with the Raptor code also, right? Okay, that's the first thing. That's the first thing here. That's the first thing about this one, right? So remember that for this one, you have to work with the parallel array here. Parallel array, that's the name, each is the name. They are correlated with the number quantity of the apple here, right? And I said, so when you work with the name and quantity apple, again, you work with the range match here, parallel and array and the range match here, right? So if you go back to the slide of the module 6. Slide the module 6. Yeah, you know that you have something to work with the parallel array. Okay, and you work at how to work with the range method. This program works with both parallel array and range method. So I expect that you understand the process when you work with the range method instead of using the net decision here. You have to use the loop here. And I explained it very clearly more than one time, right? When you work with this one. Okay, that is about the final project. And in the next week, you have the final exam also. Final exam. This one is a multiple choice question. Multiple choice question. That everything about what you learned so far in this class. The second one is also about the code, about coding here. So again for this one, it's up to you. You can work with the Python or Raptor, it's up to you. But again, the requirement is the same. The requirement is the same. You have to submit it. Sorry. Again, for this one, you have to submit it in the Raptor file or the Python file. Do not submit the text file. It's not acceptable. And so we have to submit the screenshot to show that you will run it correctly and minimum 3 times. And again for this one also, right? Again, it work with the parallel array. And again, you have to end the input with the sentinel value here. Right? Do not fit into 10 or 20 or 30 students. Keep asking, enter the name and enter the grade, and think about keep enter the name and the star to exit here. Right? Okay. And again, for this one here, I know that whenever you got the grade, right? Whenever you got the grade from student, you have to verify it. Right? Whenever you got the grade from student, you have to verify it. It's integrating from the 1 to 100, so from 0 to 100, right? You cannot have negative. You cannot have more than 100 here. Also, you also have to verify that he cannot enter in the string format, right? So we think about if he enter about the negative 4 is not accepted, right? 110 is not accepted, or 60 here. Oh, sorry, you put the 60 here. You also not accepted. Okay, again, do the same process. And since this, you store them into the parallel array, right? They store in the parallel array, and now you check. You run the loop and you check if the grade greater than or equal 60, you just print it out. You pass this class. If not, you fail this class. And you have to display name and grade of all students. It displays average. You know that in order to figure out average, you have to maintain the accumulator, right? You sum it up together and you divide by number of students, you got the average here, right? And display the student who grade is the highest. You know the process of how to find the maximum and minimum already, right? I did it on the last class already. and displays the student who grade is smaller also. Okay, and again, if you remember that if you work with the Python, I know that in the Python you have the sum of the real method. You can sort it, reverse, and max and min, but you are not required to do it. Sorry, you are not allowed to do it here. Yes, that's a program output to make sure you run it correctly. Okay. The screenshot of the program output. Now you do not have to join. It's totally up to you. You think that you have no question to me for anything with this class, or you do not have any question with the final exam or whatever. You do not have to go. You do not have to join on Tuesday. But again, I will be on the class on class, and I will open the Zoom meeting. So if you have any question, you can feel free to join and raise to me. Okay, so any other question, guys?
I don't have any at the moment.
Okay. So again, that is the project is a 150 points. So it's a huge point. Take your time and plan ahead to do it. And if you need any help, you can send me the email. If I'm available, I can help you. Okay, let me check the attendance here. Zachary Baker, are you here? Barrow, are you here? Cameron, are you here?
Here.
William. Brisbane, are you here? Here, right? Emiliano, are you here?
Here.
Kaden, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Kaden, I see that you already submitted, but again, make sure you have to submit it in the Python format or Raptor format, not the text
Okay.
file.
Yeah, I have a question about that. I'll ask you about that after attendance.
Okay, and make sure that you have to verify that everything is the correct format. The passive technique. Okay, Jasmine, are you here? No. Luke, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Nick, are you here? Jose, are we here? Jose, are you here? No. Martin, are you here? Shalon, are you here? Nathan, are you here? Aiden, are here, right? Okay, again. So anytime if you have any question with the homework or assignment, you can join my office hour, or you can join class on Thursday or on Tuesday, or you can send me the email. Right? So I hope you enjoy this class. It's not easy class, but I see that some of you did it very well and some not. But I hope you enjoy it. And so see you guys. Any question? Any questions? No? Okay, so if not, see you guys. Bye-bye. And again, if you have any question, you can stay after class today. You can raise to me. I'm here. If you need any help from me, you can stay after this class.
All right, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah. Okay. So I had a question. So what kind of Python version am I supposed to be using now on my computer?
Python version is so you already did it with the Python file, right? You can send it to me.
Well, yeah, I didn't do it through that. I just did it through the Notepad. So I sent it through to Notepad, but I can't like save my Python file.
Okay, so basically you do in the Python file, you just go to the Python. You can go to the website and you can download it. I think that right now it is. Let me check. Okay, so you can download the Python 3.10.7 here.
Yeah, I have that one, but when I open it, it's like it's just like a I can type the codes in and everything, but I can't like save it.
Why you cannot save it?
I have no idea. I've been trying to figure that out. There's no like file save or anything like that. So
Okay, so think about it when you install it, you have the idle here. You have idle here. That you go to file, you go to new file, and you can do everything here. Now, let's see.
you're doing everything on what? I'm sorry.
You see, you have the new file here, right? And you can do it here. I have x equal 10.
That's in idle.
That is not.
Hmm?
Yeah, I don't. Okay, you can save it here.
Are you
Save
sharing
that.
your screen? I can't see your screen.
Okay, sorry.
No, sorry, my bad.
Okay, so let me do it again. So basically, when you install the Python, basically when you install Python, you will have the idle here in your program. I install your computer. You open the Python idle, and you go to file, you go to new file, and you can write the code here. And pretty nice. Right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was probably a dumb question. It's in the idle shell. Okay.
Think about it. Take the file, you have the text here. Yeah. Right. So now next on you can open the file with the Python with the idle again.
Okay.
You open the idle, you open it here, go to desktop, the test, and you run it here. Right? So that's
Okay.
okay.
All right. Thank you. I'll resubmit those. Am I allowed to resubmit them?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Make sure that you have to use a Sentinel control to exit the loop, and the price for the Apple is 99 cents, not the one.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So for the final project,
Yes.
we're needing 2 parallel arrays, so we'll need 4 lists total.
Sorry, say again.
So because we're needing 2 parallel arrays, the first parallel array is going to be like number and the number of apples, or name number of apples.
Yes.
And then the other one are going to be the ones that were given.
You have the two variable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You have two variable. Jose, do you have any question?